Welcome to Dreamtale Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is The Journey of a Blue Pen. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly. 1, 2, 3. Sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The journey of a blue pen begins now. And when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The journey of a blue pen. In the heart of downtown, there was a small Italian restaurant called Mario's. The restaurant had red and white checkered tablecloths, warm yellow lights, and the smell of fresh pasta and garlic bread that made everyone hungry. People came from all over the city to eat Mario's famous lasagna and drink wine with their friends and family. Tom Williams had worked as a waiter at Mario's for 15 years. He was 42 years old, had short brown hair, and always wore a clean white shirt with black pants. Tom was known for his friendly smile and his ability to remember what every customer liked to order. But most importantly, Tom was known for his blue ballpoint pen. The pen was not expensive or special looking. It was just a simple blue plastic pen with a silver tip. But Tom had used this pen every single day for the past 3 years. He wrote down hundreds of orders with it, signed receipts, and even wrote little thank you notes for his favorite customers. The pen had become his lucky charm. On this particular Tuesday evening in October, Mario's was busier than usual. The autumn weather was perfect, and many people wanted to enjoy a warm meal before winter arrived. Tom was running from table to table, taking orders and serving food. "Good evening," Tom said to a family of 4 at table 12. "My name is Tom, and I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you with some drinks?" The father looked at the menu. "We'll have 2 glasses of red wine, 1 orange juice, and 1 milk, please." Tom wrote the order down with his blue pen, just like he had done thousands of times before. But tonight was different. Tonight, something unexpected was about to happen. After Tom finished taking the drink order, he hurried to the kitchen to tell the chef about the food orders from other tables. In his rush, he placed his blue pen on the counter near the cash register and forgot about it completely. Sarah Martinez was a 23-year-old college student who had just started working at Mario's 2 weeks ago. This was her first job as a waitress, and she was still nervous about making mistakes. She had long black hair, brown eyes, and was always trying her best to learn everything quickly. Sarah was cleaning tables when she noticed the blue pen sitting on the counter. She looked around to see if anyone was looking for it, but everyone seemed busy with their work. The restaurant was full of customers, and she needed a pen to take orders from her next table. "I'll just borrow this for a few minutes," Sarah thought to herself as she picked up Tom's blue pen. Sarah walked over to table 8, where a young couple was waiting to order dinner. Her hands were shaking slightly because she was still not confident about her job. "Hello, welcome to Mario's," Sarah said with a nervous smile. "Are you ready to order?" The woman smiled back. "Yes, I think so. I'd like the chicken parmesan with a side salad, please." Sarah wrote down the order with the blue pen. Something about using the pen made her feel more confident. It wrote smoothly and felt comfortable in her hand. The man ordered the seafood pasta, and Sarah wrote that down too. As she wrote, she noticed that her handwriting looked neater than usual. Maybe it was because the pen was so smooth, or maybe she was finally getting used to her new job. "Thank you," Sarah said. "Your food will be ready in about 20 minutes. As Sarah walked away from the table, she felt proud of herself. That was the first time she had taken an order without stuttering or dropping her notepad. She looked down at the blue pen in her hand and smiled. Sarah continued using the pen for the next hour. She took orders from 3 more tables, wrote down special requests from customers, and even used it to sign her time card. Each time she used the pen, she felt a little more confident about her work. But then something happened that Sarah didn't expect. Antonio Rossi was the head chef at Mario's. He was a 55-year-old man from Italy who had been cooking for over 30 years. Antonio was short and round, with gray hair and a thick mustache. He was famous for his loud voice and his passionate way of talking about food. "Where is my pen?" Antonio shouted from the kitchen. "I need to write down the ingredients for tomorrow's special menu." Antonio always kept a pen in his chef's coat pocket, but tonight he couldn't find it anywhere. He had looked in all his pockets, on all the counters, and even in the refrigerator, but his pen was nowhere to be found. Sarah heard Antonio shouting and felt bad for him. She still had the blue pen in her hand, and she thought Antonio needed it more than she did. After all, he was the head chef, and she was just a new waitress. "Chef Antonio," Sarah called out as she walked into the kitchen, "you can use this pen if you want." She handed him the blue pen, and Antonio's face immediately brightened. "Ah, perfect!" Antonio said with his thick Italian accent. "Thank you, Sarah. You are very kind." Antonio took the pen and immediately started writing on a piece of paper. He was creating a new recipe for a special pasta dish that he wanted to serve the next day. The pen moved quickly across the paper as Antonio wrote down ingredients like fresh tomatoes, basil, olive oil, and Parmesan cheese. "This pen writes very nicely," Antonio said to himself as he continued writing. "It flows like butter on warm bread." Antonio used the pen to write his complete recipe, including cooking times and special techniques. He also wrote a shopping list of ingredients that he needed to buy the next morning. The pen seemed to help his ideas flow more easily than usual. After finishing his recipe, Antonio placed the pen on the kitchen counter and went back to cooking. He didn't realize that he had just used Tom's special pen, and he had no idea about the journey this pen had already taken that evening. Meanwhile, Tom was still busy serving customers in the dining room. He had been so focused on his work that he hadn't noticed his pen was missing. But when he went to write down an order from table 15, he reached into his shirt pocket and found nothing. That's strange, Tom thought. I always keep my pen in this pocket. He looked around the restaurant, but he couldn't see his blue pen anywhere. Tom felt worried because he had used that pen for so long that it felt like a part of him. But he couldn't stop working to look for it because the restaurant was too busy. Tom borrowed a pencil from another waiter and continued taking orders. But the pencil felt wrong in his hand. It was too light, and the lead kept breaking. Tom missed his blue pen, but he had to keep working. Back in the kitchen, Lisa Chen, the restaurant manager, was doing her nightly paperwork. Lisa was 38 years old, had short black hair, and always wore business clothes even when she was working in the restaurant. She was responsible for managing the staff, paying bills, and making sure everything ran smoothly. Lisa needed to calculate how much money the restaurant had made that day. She looked around for a pen and saw the blue pen sitting on the counter where Antonio had left it. Perfect, Lisa said as she picked up the pen. Lisa used the pen to add up all the receipts from dinner service. She wrote down numbers on her calculator and made notes about which dishes were most popular that night. The pen worked perfectly for her detailed work, but Lisa's job was more than just counting money. She also had to write the work schedule for next week. She used the blue pen to write down which waiters would work which shifts, when the kitchen staff should arrive, and who would be responsible for cleaning each night. As Lisa wrote, she noticed that the pen never skipped or left blank spots on the paper. It was a reliable pen, and she appreciated that because her work required precision. I wonder whose pen this is, Lisa thought as she finished her paperwork. I should ask around and see if anyone is missing it. But before Lisa could ask anyone about the pen, Jake Thompson approached her with a question. Jake was the bartender at Mario's. He was 28 years old, had blonde hair, and was known for making the best cocktails in the neighborhood. Jake was creative and always experimenting with new drink recipes. Lisa, Jake said, I have an idea for a new cocktail that I think our customers would love. Do you have a pen so I can write down the recipe? Lisa handed him the blue pen without thinking about it. Here you go, Jake. What kind of cocktail are you thinking about? It's an autumn-themed drink with apple juice, cinnamon, and a special Italian liqueur, Jake explained as he took the pen. I want to call it the Mario's Harvest. Jake walked over to the bar and started writing his recipe on a napkin. He wrote down exact measurements for each ingredient: 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of apple juice, half an ounce of cinnamon syrup, and a splash of Italian amaretto. But Jake's creativity didn't stop there. He also used the pen to write down ideas for garnishes and presentation. He wanted to serve the drink in a special glass with a cinnamon stick and a thin slice of apple. As Jake wrote, he felt inspired. The pen seemed to help his ideas flow from his mind to the paper. He wrote down 3 more cocktail recipes, each one more creative than the last. One recipe was for a drink called Venetian Sunset with orange juice and Italian Prosecco. Another was for Roman Holiday with lemon, herbs, and gin. Jake was so excited about his new ideas that he didn't notice how much time had passed. These recipes are going to be amazing, Jake said to himself as he finished writing. I can't wait to test them tomorrow. Jake left the pen on the bar counter and went to serve customers who were waiting for drinks. He was so excited about his new recipes that he forgot all about the pen. But the pen's journey was far from over. Emily Rodriguez was the hostess at Mario's. She was 25 years old, had curly brown hair, and was responsible for greeting customers, managing reservations, and making sure everyone felt welcome when they entered the restaurant. Emily's job might have looked easy, but it was actually quite complicated. She had to keep track of which tables were available, how long customers had been waiting, and which servers were responsible for each section of the restaurant. It was now almost 9 o'clock in the evening, and Emily was getting tired. She had been standing at the front of the restaurant for 6 hours, smiling and talking to customers. Her feet hurt, and she had a long list of reservations to organize for the next day. Emily walked over to the bar to get a glass of water when she noticed the blue pen sitting on the counter. "Oh, good," Emily said. "I need a pen to update my reservation book." Emily picked up the pen and walked back to her podium at the front of the restaurant. She opened her reservation book and started writing down all the bookings for Wednesday night. Mrs. Anderson had made a reservation for 4 people at 7 o'clock. The Johnson family wanted a table for 6 at 6:30. A couple named Smith had requested a romantic table for 2 at 8 o'clock. Emily used the blue pen to write down all these details, along with special notes about each reservation. Mrs. Anderson had mentioned that it was her wedding anniversary. The Johnson family was celebrating their daughter's birthday. The Smith couple was on their first date. It's important to remember these details, Emily thought as she wrote. It makes the customers feel special when we remember what they're celebrating. Emily also used the pen to calculate how long each table would probably stay at the restaurant. This helped her plan which tables to give to new customers and when to expect people to leave. But Emily's work was interrupted by a phone call. "Mario's restaurant. This is Emily," she answered. "How can I help you?" "Hi," said a woman's voice. "I'd like to make a reservation for tomorrow night, please." Emily wrote down the customer's name, phone number, and requested time using the blue pen. She also wrote down that the customer had mentioned she was allergic to seafood, which was important information for the kitchen. After she finished with the phone call, Emily noticed that it was getting late and she needed to start preparing for the restaurant to close. She used the pen to write a note about which tables needed extra cleaning and which customers had left positive comments about their meals. But as Emily was writing, she accidentally knocked over her glass of water. the water spilled across her podium and onto the floor. "Oh no," Emily said, as she quickly grabbed some napkins to clean up the mess. In her hurry to clean the water, Emily accidentally knocked the blue pen off the podium. The pen rolled across the floor and stopped under a chair near the kitchen entrance. Maria Santos was the cleaning staff member who worked at Mario's every night after the restaurant closed. She was 45 years old, had gray hair, and took great pride in making sure the restaurant was perfectly clean for the next day. Maria arrived at work at 10 o'clock, just as the last customers were leaving the restaurant. She always started her work in the dining room, cleaning tables and chairs, and then moved to the kitchen and bathrooms. As Maria was sweeping the floor near the kitchen, she found the blue pen under the chair where Emily had accidentally dropped it. "Someone dropped their pen," Maria said to herself. "I should put it somewhere safe." But before Maria could decide where to put the pen, she realized that she needed it for her own work. Every night, Maria had to fill out a cleaning checklist to show that she had completed all her tasks. Maria used the blue pen to check off each item on her list as she completed it. Sweep dining room floor. Clean all tables and chairs. Wash windows. Empty trash cans. Clean bathrooms and mop kitchen floor. But Maria's job involved more than just cleaning. She also had to write a report about anything unusual that happened during her shift. Tonight, she noticed that one of the chairs had a loose leg that needed to be fixed. She used the blue pen to write a note about this problem so that the manager would know about it the next day. Maria also used the pen to write down how much cleaning supplies she had used. This helped the restaurant keep track of when they needed to order more soap, paper towels, and other supplies. "This is a good pen," Maria thought as she wrote. "It doesn't skip like some of the old pens we have here." Maria worked for 3 hours, cleaning every corner of the restaurant. She used the pen several more times to make notes about burned-out light bulbs, a sticky door handle, and a stain on one of the tablecloths that needed special attention. When Maria finished her work at 1 o'clock in the morning, she was tired but satisfied. The restaurant was perfectly clean and ready for the next day. She placed the blue pen on Tom's usual station at the server counter, thinking that maybe it belonged to one of the waiters. The next morning, Tom arrived at Mario's at 10 o'clock to prepare for the lunch shift. He always came early to set up his tables, review the daily specials, and make sure he had everything he needed for a successful day. As Tom walked to his usual station, he immediately saw his blue pen sitting on the counter. "There you are," Tom said with a big smile. "I looked everywhere for you yesterday." Tom picked up his pen and held it in his hand. It felt perfect, just like it always had. He had no idea about the incredible journey his pen had taken the night before. He didn't know that Sarah had used it to gain confidence, that Antonio had used it to create new recipes, that Lisa had used it for important paperwork, that Jake had used it to design creative cocktails, that Emily had used it to manage reservations, or that Maria had used it to keep the restaurant clean and safe. But somehow, Tom felt that his pen was special. Maybe it was just his imagination, but the pen seemed to write even more smoothly than before. It was as if the pen had gained experience and wisdom from its journey around the restaurant. "Let's get ready for another busy day," Tom said to his pen as he put it in his shirt pocket, exactly where it belonged. As the lunch customers began to arrive, Tom used his blue pen to take their orders, just like he had done for years. But now, unknowingly, the pen carried with it the experiences of every person who had used it. It had helped Sarah gain confidence, Antonio create delicious food, Lisa manage the business, Jake invent new drinks, Emily take care of customers, and Maria keep everything clean. The pen had become more than just a tool for writing. It had become a silent witness to the teamwork and dedication of everyone who worked at Mario's restaurant. Each person had contributed something special to the pen's journey, and now it was back where it started, ready to continue serving the restaurant and its customers. That afternoon, as Tom took an order from a family celebrating their grandmother's birthday, he wrote their request for a special dessert with extra candles. The pen moved smoothly across the paper, and Tom smiled, not knowing that his simple blue pen had helped bring together an entire team of restaurant workers in one magical night. The journey of the blue pen was complete, but its story would continue every day at Mario's, where it would help create countless more memories, meals, and moments of connection between the staff and their customers. In the world of restaurants, even the smallest things can have the biggest adventures, and sometimes the most ordinary objects can bring extraordinary people together.